Right, hi everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for the last couple of weeks for listening to Julia and Ryan's episodes. I hope you all enjoyed listening and found them really insightful because I really enjoyed recording them and picking their brains. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed listening to it too. As you can see, it is just me today. So what we're going to talk about today is like the benefits of aqua-based exercise, which is kind of like a big part of my role actually with work. But yeah, there's lots and lots of benefits for it, which is something I never thought I'd be talking about this time last year. I'll get into that in a bit, but basically, as part of my musculoskeletal or MSK role that I do, not only do I help people like in the gym, but I also help people in the pool as well. Lots and lots of benefits for people with like chronic health conditions, basically like improving their mobility and their overall health in the water as well. The water is like very accessible to everybody, like regardless of kind of what conditions they have. And I think another thing as well is that some people, for example, might find going to the gym or going to a class like quite intimidating and a bit daunting. So that can be like a potential barrier. I'm just being joined by a guest here. Are you coming on? Oh, yeah. So yeah, he's like, why is he talking to himself? But all right, off you go, mate. Right, so yeah, lost my train of thought now. I was talking about mine's gone blank now, so I do apologize. Yeah, I was talking about kind of like how yeah, the gym and doing classes can be daunting and intimidating for people, especially people with health conditions or people who have lived like sedentary lifestyles and perhaps have never like experienced that kind of atmosphere before. So I think the pool is very inviting and very inclusive and very accessible to a lot of people as well. But yeah, I've just touched on how like being in the water can improve your mobility and your overall health, but it also does improve things like your cardiovascular fitness, your strength, endurance, flexibility, and very importantly, like core stability as well. Um, Now, in terms of like properties of the water, you've got something called buoyancy. So basically, like as you go into the water, you know, gravity pulls you down, and then you start to sort of float back up again, and that's basically what buoyancy does. So gravity pulls you down, buoyancy pushes you back up, and basically that causes your body to feel lighter in the water as opposed to on land. And that therefore like reduces the stress and the impact on your joints. So when I talk about like people with musculoskeletal conditions as well, so people with like low back pain, arthritis, sciatica, and a few others, like that is why that exercising in the water is really friendly for them, particularly like with their joints. So if you take me, for example, I weigh roughly 70 kilograms, give or take, depends on how many mini eggs I've eaten that week. So if I weigh 70 kilograms, when I'm stood in the water with the water at hip height, then my weight becomes 35 kilograms or 50% of my body weight. When the water is up to my chest, then that becomes 30% of my body weight or 23 kilograms. And when the water is like right up to my shoulders, so I'm in the deep part of the pool, then I actually only weigh 7 kilograms, which is just 10% of my body weight. So yeah, that's what I mean by saying like your body feels a lot lighter when you're in the water because of the water properties, like including like buoyancy as well. That also leads on to something called hydrostatic pressure, which is exerted by water on the body, and it also like reduces swelling. So if you have a lot of swelling on your body, then even just standing in the water and not even doing anything, that actually can help reduce swelling as well. So there's lots of benefits to that. And then what also, so if you go into like a normal swimming pool, the temperature, you're probably talking around 28 degrees on average. Some pools are a bit warmer and some are slightly colder, but yeah, you're talking around 27, 28 degrees on average, I would say. maybe even 29. But like the point is that when water temperature is between 20 and 32 degrees Celsius, then that helps reduce your blood pressure. Now, if you were to go in like freezing cold water, like say 12 degrees, that actually increases your blood pressure. But yeah, in a normal bog standard swimming pool, yeah, it will help reduce your blood pressure. And then basically also like what that means is because of the hydrostatic pressure, if you're like doing like aerobic exercises or HIIT exercises like in a swimming pool, then actually your heart rate tends to be around 20%, sorry, not 20%, 20 beats per minute lower than doing like for like exercises on the land as well. So just those things already just show like the difference that water makes to kind of like how your body reacts and how like all your organs work and things like that. It's really interesting actually in terms of like the exercises that you do in terms of like how different they are on land and in water. So if we use like a bicep curl, for example, or I'll rename it an arm curl, and you'll see why in a minute. If I grab a dumbbell in the gym, and I'm just pretending here, I'll do a bicep curl like this, and obviously you're going to be strengthening your biceps, So as I like curl up, then like my bicep contracts concentrically, which means like the shortening of the muscle. But as I do that, then the tricep muscle there is doing eccentric contraction, which means the lengthening of the muscle. So the bicep contracts, the triceps are eccentric. That's what happens like when you're doing a normal bog standard bicep curl, like whether it's with a dumbbell or a barbell in the gym or anywhere else on land. But then actually it's different in water. So you've got in water with no equipment and in water with buoyant equipment as well. So if I do so basically like on land, as I said, it's like concentric and eccentric. In the water with no equipment at all doing that arm curl, it's like a dual concentric motion. So what that means is both your biceps and your triceps both contract. I can't even say the word. Both contract concentrically when you're doing it in the water with no equipment. Now, if I were to grab a pair of aqua dumbbells or any kind of like buoyant equipment, then it is the opposite way round to on land. So if I do arm curls in the water with a pair of dumbbells, it's actually the triceps that you're working on. So your triceps contract eccentrically on the upward phase and concentrically on the downward phase, whereas on land it would be the biceps. So it is like the opposite way round in the water with equipment as opposed to on land with equipment. So yeah, basically like that's caused by frontal resistance. So all movements like in water without buoyant equipment are concentric. So that's that arm curl without any equipment. But buoyant equipment, such as those aqua dumbbells, like in the water, the vertical up-down motion results in the opposite muscle groups contracting as opposed to dry land. So that's what I mean by that, basically. Another example is if you do like a lateral raise with a pair of dumbbells. If you do that in the gym, like you're basically targeting like your shoulders or your delts, if you want to be a little bit more specific. But when you do that exercise in the water, you're actually working your lats when you're doing it. So again, that's just like another example of how doing like for like exercises on land and in water actually work different groups of muscles. So like we did a level 3 aquatic activity for health course last summer, and when I first got told that by the tutor, I was kind of like, what, really? How does that make sense? But then just like the different properties of the water, you do start to understand actually that's like why it makes a difference. So kind of like going back to my musculoskeletal job with MSK. So I touched on an episode a few weeks ago about how I run a session called Good Boost. So that's really good for helping people with musculoskeletal conditions or MSK conditions to shorten it. So again, that can be anything from like arthritis, low back pain, sciatica, and problems with your joints and mobility, flexibility, you name it. The water does make a massive difference in terms of being like minimal to low impact on the joints and very friendly. A good example is that one of the exercises that you can do in the water is like jumping jacks. Now imagine someone has got like arthritis in both their knees and they have problems in their hips. If you got them to do jumping jacks in the gym, then that would be seriously like ill-advised, and it would be really bad for them because it would be far too much stress and high impact on the joints. But actually, when you do that exercise in the water, it actually feels really good for them. And that's just based on the feedback that I've received from my clients as well. So yeah, just being in the water really does make a massive difference, have a positive impact on people. Just in terms of like everyday life as well. I mean, one of my clients on the Good Boost session earlier in the week actually told me that she was like basically like doing work in a garden outside. And the long and short of it is that like she told me that like a couple of months ago she would not have been able to do it, but now that because she's been attending those Good Boost sessions like 2-3 times a week for the last 3 months, it's made a massive difference, and she's now able to do her gardening, and like a lot less pain and a lot more comfort. So little things like that is a good example of kind of like how much of a positive impact it has on people's lives. There's another gent actually on my MSK program. I remember he told me that like, whenever he used to go on holiday, the first 2 days he'd be away on holiday, like his back would be in like lots of pain, mainly from like doing lots of walking about and also like sleeping on a different bed as well. But he went on holiday like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he told me that like those first 2 days he was on holiday, he did not feel any pain in his back whatsoever. And it's no coincidence that that's because he's been doing those Good Boost sessions in the pool, multiple times a week consistently. And obviously, like everybody, you want to enjoy your holiday. And if you're in a lot of pain, then you're not going to enjoy your holiday as much as you'd like to. So yeah, it was really like pleasing to see the sessions have that positive impact on him. But yeah, just going back to kind of what Good Boost is, you get given a tablet. You answer a few questionnaires about yourself, about your health conditions, give it as much information as possible. So, I'll go back to like having arthritis in your knees, for example. So you like put like whether it's your left knee, your right knee, or both of your knees. And then you answer questions about sort of how painful is it sort of like standing up and sitting down and swinging your leg backwards and forwards and walking and things like that, kind of like just basic stuff really. But then what the tablets do, they use AI to create sessions that are tailored to the individual. So you could have like 5 people next to each other in the pool, all with a tablet each doing Good Boost, and they're all doing completely different exercises because the sessions are not like generalized, they really are tailored to suit each individual person's specific needs. And it's really cool as well. So you're in the water, the tablet is on the edge of the pool and they're waterproof as well. And they play videos like of the exercises and the counting down for you as well, kind of like how long you've got left and how long your rest period is, and it gives you teaching points. And I'm there kind of like supervising the sessions as well and making sure everybody's on the right track. And I touched on earlier about buoyant equipment in the water. So I talked about the dumbbells. So yeah, we do use dumbbells. We also use noodles and kickboards as well. So yeah, there's like lots of ways to kind of like vary the sessions and achieve like progression and regression. In fact, at the end of each Good Boost session, you get given like a recap of all the exercises that you just did, and it asks you to give it like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So any that you give a thumbs down because you didn't like it for whatever reason, or you found it a bit too difficult, then it won't give you it next time. So it really does tailor it to each individual. We started the Good Boost program like just before Christmas, and yeah, just seeing like the popularity and kind of like how it's had a positive impact on people's day-to-day lives is really good. It's helped their like musculoskeletal conditions massively, reducing pain and improving mobility, increasing flexibility, and also like I say, just like making people feel better mentally as well as physically. It's a win-win situation. So yeah, really pleased with how that's going. if I kind of like recap the prevalence of musculoskeletal conditions, so the whole idea of the MSK program that I run is to get people back into work. So in the UK, it's estimated around 7.8 million working days are lost per year purely down to musculoskeletal conditions, like I touched on earlier with the examples, and then it's costing the UK economy £21.6 billion per year as well. So it's a massive problem in the UK, in our country, in our region as well. So the idea of the program, as I said, is to like help people get back into work or prevent people from going off sick in the first place. That increases obviously like quality of life. It improves people's physical health and mental well-being, but also like in the context of the workplace, it improves people's productivity at work as well. And then from an employer's perspective, you're saving loads of money without, because obviously like as you reduce the number of lost working days, lost to sickness, then obviously that means you're saving loads of money as well. You're spending a lot less money on sick pay and a lot less money on bringing in like temporary agency staff, for example. And that goes for like people in sedentary jobs, like sat at a desk all day, and also like people in like manual jobs as well. So that could be like working in a factory or a power station or a building site or whatever it may be. So yeah, lots of us like are susceptible to it. And yeah, that's why like the DWP funds the program, and it's a 12-week program where everyone gets like all the sessions included. So that includes good boosts, and it includes like a personalized gym program, use of the gym, classes, swimming, and then also kind of like checkup points. So you get like a review after 6 weeks at the midpoint, and also at the end point, which is at the 12th week. Just really good way of like tracking progress, and then just kind of like making sure that everyone's getting on really well with it, and we can always like make changes and progress things as time goes along. And it has like changed a few people's lives for the good. So one of the first people who signed up to the MSK program with me back in October, like she completed the 12 weeks quite a while ago, doing so she actually did all the gym sessions with me, and then she's also like using the gym herself too off her own accord. And at the end of that 12 weeks, like, she's still continuing to come to the gym like multiple times a week. And she told me that like it's changed her life, and she's in like a lot less pain, in a nutshell. And lots of things that she struggled to do a few months ago, she's now able to do now a lot more easily. So yeah, it's just like really pleasing to see like the people who are like showing up like regularly and consistently are just like doing really well with it, like not just during the 12 weeks but beyond the 12 weeks as well. And we just now, what I need to do is kind of just expand that, broaden the horizons, and just make more people aware of it. So yeah, if you're listening to this and you for example suffer pain in your back or your joints, or maybe somebody else who does, then basically just like and obviously like if you're living in the Selby area as well, or around Sherburn or Tad, yeah, just get them to get in touch with me on the details in the description, and I will get back to you, and we will get that ball rolling, because why wait? There's no time like the present. So yeah, that's kind of like it really, in terms of like the benefits of exercise in water, or aqua-based exercise, whatever you want to call it. Like I kind of touched on earlier, if you just said to me a year ago that I'd be like banging the drum about the benefits of aqua-based exercise, I honestly like would have thought you were crazy, because like anyone who knows me well like knows that I'm not a good swimmer at all. Some of my mates actually find it quite amusing to watch, and I have been swimming like, I mean, I probably swim maybe 4 or 5 times a year on average. I'll swim like 2 lengths, and I'm like completely blowing out on my arse, but I'll know why. It's just because like my technique is like pretty dire, so therefore I'm not like moving through the water efficiently, like in comparison to like a seasoned swimmer. If you like. But yeah, listening to me like advocating exercise in water is kind of like Tony Blair advocating for world peace or something like that. It just kind of smacks of irony. And but yeah, I'm really glad actually though that work put me onto the level 3 aquatic activity for exercise course last summer, because I've learnt loads from it. And then actually just last week actually I found out that I also got another certification, so level 4 neurological conditions, level 4 exercise for long-term neurological conditions. And my mind went completely blank again there. So, but yeah, really good, like learning about all sorts of different like neurological conditions and how to like tailor exercises like to each individual. And like I found that especially useful because I recently started working with a Parkinson's group on the Friday morning. So we run a session every Friday morning called Pedaling for Parkinson's as well. So just kind of like getting to know those people, knowing what works for them, what doesn't work so well for them, and how I can like tailor things for them. But then also just kind of like learning the theory side of things on that course. It was like really in depth, and I've like gained a lot more knowledge and a lot more confidence with it as well. So hopefully in the longer term that will allow me to provide a better service for them going forwards, and just provide them with a really good experience every time, and just help improve their quality of life both physically and mentally. So thank you to Andy, my manager, for giving me those opportunities. Really grateful, really appreciate it. That's it for this episode. Give me a like and a subscribe and share if you haven't done so already. Drop a comment below if there's anything you want me to talk about or any questions that you have for any future episodes. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drop a bonus Q&A episode. I'll publish it on Wednesday, so in 3 days' time. As you're listening to this, because a few of you sent in a few questions to me on the old Instagram the other day. So I will get them answered for you, and I'll publish it as like a little bonus on Wednesday. So thanks everyone for your support. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you soon.